Among those voices is Kirk Johnson, founder of the List Project to resettle Iraqi allies. And he joins us now. Kirk, why wasn't the Biden administration and the U.S. and other administrations more prepared to get these people, our friends, out?
Well, you know, I've struggled for years to come up with a nicer answer to that question, but I think the honest truth is that we used these people when we needed them, and once we left, they're on their own. These people have risked their lives. They've lost limbs, they've lost family members, they've had their kids abducted. They are directly in the crosshairs. And yet the minute that they've asked us for our help, what they're given is a piece of paper, and they're told to wait for years, and maybe we'll give them a visa at some point. For decades now, the United States has been making promises to these people, both in Iraq and in Afghanistan, that you come forward and you help us. You risk your lives to help these 18-year-old Marines from Ohio who don't speak Dari or Pashto, and we got your back. And guess what? We don't. And I think President Biden has just, you know, on the way over here, I had all these thoughts about what I wanted to say, and I'm almost speechless at this moment, because I think the president has just made this calculation that the American public doesn't care about this war, doesn't care about the Afghans who are being killed in our name. And that once CNN pulls its news crews out and we all stop paying attention to this and the real bloodletting starts happening, that he won't suffer any political consequences. But this is one of these issues that it should not be left to the public opinion polls. This is just a fundamental question of, do we help those who helped us? Do we deliver on the promise we made to them? So you said at the top of the hour that the Pentagon has made a new promise now, that they're going to let out 1,000, they're going to airlift 1,000 out a day. They've been making these promises for years. A month ago, Biden made a promise that we were going to bring tens of thousands out. So here's my advice for the president, if he's doing any last-second adjustments to his address. Stop making promises that you're not going to keep. How are we going to get thousands out now when we don't have any bases anymore, when the airport is under siege, when you can't even land an airplane there? I mean, this is so appalling, and it was so preventable. And I say this as somebody who voted for the president and as somebody who was for withdrawing from Afghanistan. But we didn't have to do it this way. So we need to get beyond these idiotic binary choices that our only options were to stay for another decade or this, where we've got Afghans desperately clinging to our C-17s trying to get out, as if that was the only choice that Biden had. It's appalling. And his advisors knew this was going to happen. The intelligence community knew this was going to happen. We've all known that this was going to happen, that the first people the Taliban would go after were the Afghans who risked their lives to help us. And what did we do with all of that intelligence, with all of that certainty? With all of the visa programs that bipartisan members of Congress have delivered over 2 decades to give visas to these people, what did we do? We just waved and we boarded our planes and we left. Biden said this wasn't, a month ago, said this wasn't going to be Saigon rooftop. There wasn't a fair comparison. You know what? It's worse. This is far worse. Because the difference between Vietnam and Afghanistan was Vietnam was not a landlocked country. The people we abandoned there got on boats and they fled. The Afghans who are now in the assassins' crosshairs have nowhere to go. And so they're all desperately looking for somebody to help them. And what are they getting? Nothing. They're getting more empty promises from this White House.
Kirk Johnson, for someone feeling speechless, you make a compelling case, and we'll see if President Biden addresses all of that this hour when he comes out to speak. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.